Jeremy has worked with the Lamilux team to bring hundreds of daylight projects to life across North America. He has a BS in Energy Business and Finance from Penn State and will hold a Master of Science Sustainability in the Urban Environment from the City College of New York. He's been an intern at Urban Green in New York City, a superintendent at Coastal Enterprises on Long Island, and a benefits coordinator at PSC SUNY Welfare Fund. Lamilux has generations of experience to build from as a manufacturer of high-quality skylights for nearly 70 years. Optimizing the use of natural light in high-performance buildings is essential to occupant health and wellness. From roof light domes, flat roof windows, and continuous roof lights to massive glass roof constructions in aesthetically pleasing shapes, Lamilux solutions offer exceptional attention to detail while addressing the needs of the Passive House standard. This presentation looks at the design and details of Lamilux daylight systems that provide exceptional performance, as well as Passive House project examples from around the world to show attendees what is possible when designing with daylight in mind. So with that, I will hand it off to Jeremy. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for that very kind introduction, Zach. I'm excited to be here. I'm going to share my screen with you all real quick. All right. As Zach mentioned, my name is Jeremy. I'm coming to you guys live today from the parking lot at the Red Roof Inn in Philly. Currently on my way back from Intertech Testing Center in York, Pennsylvania, where we were having some testing done for our 475 products. As Zach mentioned, my primary role at 475 is the Lamilux product consultant for the US and Canada. So I have gotten to work with a variety of different systems, including this Comfort Solo, which I'm going to present to you today. I've been with 475 now for 5 years, actually 5 years this month. So I'm really excited to be able to collaborate with the House Accelerator to talk to you guys about some of these products. In addition to working at 475, I'm also currently an adjunct lecturer at City College, where along with Alan Barlis, we teach a course on low energy buildings. And more recently, in the spring, we're also teaching an advanced course for Passive House CPHD certification. But today I'm here to talk to you about a sort of specific component, but I think very relevant to the work that a lot of you all will be doing in Passive House in particularly urban areas, but not necessarily exclusively. But these sort of roof access requirements, I think, are becoming more and more relevant as we try to create connections to the outdoors, particularly in settings that are urban where there might not otherwise be access. And of course, as Passive House becomes more prominent in these areas, we need to have solutions that can allow for this sort of access without compromising performance. So that's where the Comfort Solo comes in, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys a little bit about it today. As I mentioned, work for 475 High Performance Building Supply. For those of you who are not familiar with us, 475 is an e-commerce business. We sell building materials supplied primarily from Europe, including Lamilux in Germany, that facilitate high performance construction according to Passive House principles. So we really take a whole systems approach to high performance, again, based in the Passive House principles that I'm sure you all are familiar with. And we look to bridge gaps in the market by bringing materials that are manufactured more readily overseas to the United States, where they are also needed, but not necessarily as available. So we've looked to fill sort of various needs that we've seen in the Passive House market in the US and Canada over the last 10 years as a company. For those of you who have worked with us before, I'm sure you're familiar with ProClima, our air and moisture control system. We also offer ventilation options through Lunos, a decentralized system, and we're excited to be bringing Brink, a centralized ERV system, to market sometime next year. In addition, insulation, primarily through Goodtech's wood fiberboard insulation, and quality control through the PHPP. However, today I'm here to speak to you primarily about our roof daylighting options, specifically Lamilux, and the roof access solutions that they offer. So what are the advantages to using Lamilux's high-performance solutions? Well, Lamilux really offers components that address a lot of the challenges and problems that we otherwise face with roof glazing. They are thermally continuous, so they virtually eliminate the risk of condensation at the interior. They offer best-in-class energy performance, which we need, obviously, to reduce our heating and cooling loads, as well as provide interior comfort. High quality daylight, all of the components that we supply are glass, meaning that there is no fading or fogging of the glazing surface over time. You're getting very high quality of daylight through all the systems that we offer. Added comfort, as you would expect in any Passive House building, Lamilux facilitates this through its thermally continuous airtight assembly. And sound insulation similarly, but with skylights in particular and roof glazing, sound insulation can be important, as particularly during heavy rain events, things can get quite noisy at the interior. So we separate the Lamilux products that we supply into 3 primary categories. And if you go to our website at 475daylight.com, this will be the image that you're greeted by. In the past, I've presented on our roof glazing systems, the PR60, and our flat roof unit skylights, the FE and FE alternatives. But today I'm really excited to talk to you about the roof access solutions that Lamilux offers, specifically the flat roof exit comfort solo. There are several options for roof access that Lamilux provides. The image on the right is the one that we are going to be focusing on primarily today. We also offer more customized solutions, as you can see on the left, through the Lamilux PR60. And then we also have manual and motorized roof access hatches for use over a ladder or stairs, up to about 8 feet in length through the FE exit hatch. Let's talk a little bit about the Comfort Solo. Here you can see an image of the Comfort Solo in both the open and closed position. It is a pre-assembled roof access skylight. So everything you see here in the image is how the unit will arrive on site. It slides via 2 spindle motors over the tracks that you see, in this case to the left, but it can be manufactured in either direction. And what really makes it unique is the thermally continuous assembly, which you can see on the isothermal model here on the right. All units are supplied with triple layer glazing, so you're getting a UG value that offers passive levels of performance. As I mentioned, as you can see in this thermal model, the roof access solution the Comfort Solo is thermally continuous, so it makes it very easy to integrate into your passive house assembly, particularly because it has an insulated curb, which is sloped, allowing for bulk water, snow, etc., to run off its surface. It also allows it to stay very clean throughout the year. That insulated curb also offers advantages in terms of installation and continuity. Because we have this insulated curb, it makes it very easy to install a skylight. Once it's lifted onto the roof, it can be fastened down through the foot flange, and then you can run your installation right into the side of this insulated curb, which will give you, again, nice straight isotherms from the roof assembly to the skylight and then back to the roof assembly. It's a low voltage solution, and we supply motor controllers for each Comfort Solo that we supply to ensure that wiring and connections are very simple. And it can be operated manually in case of a power outage or emergency. The pins can be removed from the motorized spindles, and it can be slid by hand over the 2 tracks that you see in this image. Looking a little bit closer at that first point, it is a pre-assembled solution. So upon delivery, the skylight, motor opener, and upstand are all already assembled as you see here. This allows for it very easily to be lifted to place on the roof using a crane with a weight of approximately 820 pounds. Once it's on the roof, it's very simple to install, can be placed over the opening and then fastened directly down. You run your insulation to the side of the curb, giving you that thermal continuity I mentioned, and then your flashing membrane can lap up the side of the curb, and then you're integrated, you're watertight, you're airtight, and you're thermally continuous. The solution has been certified for North America. We've gone to great lengths to ensure that it is a good fit for the markets that we're servicing. The glass has been certified according to ASTM so that we can meet the requirements there. It has UL certified drives, which will ensure that there's no issues in terms of finding someone to install or connect the system. Similarly, we supply a UL certified motor controller to meet the same requirements. And we supply a key switch and emergency stop switch, so the hardware needed for operation as well as control of the skylight for all the systems that we offer. And that's what you can see here in the bottom right, a key switch from Window Master, which ensures that operation is simple and intuitive, but also that there is safety offered through the use of a key or multiple keys. When planning for an access hatch, there's a few different things that we want to consider in terms of our design. And we at 475 and at Lamilux are happy to consult and help you plan for these things. The first is that we need to ensure there's adequate headroom above the staircase. Most jurisdictions have a code requirement for the necessary headroom. The Comfort Solo makes it a little bit simpler to accommodate the necessary headroom because the entire sash slides open. So you have a totally clear opening above your head as you climb the stairs, but still need to ensure at the bottom and the top of the stairs, once the skylight is open, that the headroom requirements are satisfied. The second thing we want to plan for is fall protection on the roof. Because this solution will typically be left open while it is in use or that there are people at the exterior, we want to ensure that there is a protective railing to prevent anyone from falling and hurting themselves in that way. The third thing we want to plan for is the assembly depth versus the curb height. Because we are typically working on high performance projects, passive house projects, we're going to have a thicker envelope. This includes the roof assembly, which will probably have more insulation than the, say, typical cold building. For this reason, we just want to ensure that the curb height from Lamilux is offering adequate clearance above the finished roof. And if not, we want to plan to build some sort of platform to elevate the Comfort Solo so that clearance is achieved above the roof assembly. We want to be thinking about the connection and the position of the staircase as well. This will ensure that at the top of the staircase, it's simple to step out and over the Comfort Solo curb without necessarily having to change your length or your pace length or challenge yourself in any way. The Comfort Solo is equipped with a safety sensor. This ensures that while it's operating, if anyone steps into the opening, it'll stop automatically. This is a safety measure, and so it's critical that the safety sensor has clearance to sense any inhabitants that might be using the component. And finally, the location of the key switch. Lamilux recommends that the key switch is located in full sight of the Comfort Solo, again, for safety reasons, just to ensure that there's nothing obstructing the opening or closing of the system while it is in use. Electrical connection, which we simplify through the supply of the components that I mentioned, namely the motor controller for 120 to 24 volt conversions, and then also for connection of the key switch from Window Master. So I want to just talk a little bit about how Comfort Solo stacks up against some of the other roof access solutions out there that I've left nameless here for sportsmanship's sake. But I know that these solutions aren't necessarily common. So we just want to kind of give you a sense of what makes this system different or why it's unique. For starters, the system is quite large, which makes it easy to integrate from a headroom perspective and also from a clearance perspective. It also offers abundant daylight through its very large glazed surface. It's a thermally broken assembly, which is somewhat unique, although there are some competitors that offer partially or fully thermally continuous assemblies. The thermally broken assembly, along with the triple glazing, does make it one of the higher performing solutions available. It can also be customized, the profile in particular, for any RAL color powder coat, which is definitely unique amongst the competition. Both at the interior and the exterior, the color selection is totally up to you. And then in terms of the glazing, as I mentioned, triple layer with an exceptionally low U value, which makes it an excellent fit for passive house and high performance projects. Looking at a few other features of the Comfort Solo, Lamilux does offer a declaration of conformity, which makes it unique. This is just a letter that we can provide to the architect or to the code enforcing jurisdiction to ensure that they are aware that this system meets all the requirements that I outlined previously. The safety sensor as well is somewhat unique. There is some competition that offers something similar, but the Lamilux safety sensor in particular is able to sense motion over the entire clear opening surface, which is unique as compared to the other three competitors that I mentioned here, and also makes it one of the safest options available. The Comfort Solo has a limit switch, which is useful when integrating the system into the building control systems at large or other automation systems that might be available. It just indicates whether the skylight is open or closed to those other systems to ensure that they can moderate its use accordingly. The insulated curb that I mentioned, not totally unique, but what does make this solution special is that it offers that curb at a greater height than the competition. So not only do you not have to build out this curb, which will save you time and money on construction, but the taller curb will also ensure that we can achieve greater over insulation at a higher height, which will provide greater thermal performance and a better installed U value. I also want to mention that we are preparing to bring the Comfort Solo alternative, the Comfort Swing, to market sometime in Q1 of 2023. This solution similarly is a roof access skylight from Lamilux that offers many of the same benefits that I mentioned previously, but instead of a sliding sash, it offers a hinged operability, which makes it more convenient for locations where there might be limited space in the roof. We're just finalizing the testing for this system, and then we're very excited to be able to offer it, I believe, as I said, in Q1 of next year. So thank you so much, guys. That's my brief presentation on the Comfort access hatches from Lamilux. Happy to stick around and answer any questions that you guys might have.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jeremy. And we don't have questions yet in the chat. So I invite everyone to please share those questions that you have of Jeremy. Jeremy, what sort of lead time are you looking at this point for delivery of the product?
So for the Comfort Access solutions, most of our products that we supply from Lamilux at the moment actually are going to have a lead time of approximately 20 weeks. Hoping to see some improvements in the near future, but at this time, we are advising everyone to plan for around 20 weeks, particularly with the upcoming holidays.
Yeah, great, thanks. And it looks like Tim has a question here. Tim, do you want to come on screen and ask it?
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, thank you so much for going over this today. I have a project where we have a larger stairwell that's sort of a U shape or L shape. We're still working on that design, and I'm curious, can this thing be gamed or aggregated to cover a larger aperture? Obviously, the operable part can be what you show, for the final run or something like that. But are there larger versions of this, or is that it?
There's
Thank
only
you.
one size available for this specific solution. We can offer customized roof access solutions that also meet high performance requirements through the PR60, and that system does offer more flexibility, although I don't think it could accommodate much of a larger size. This sash is, to be honest, extremely large and heavy, and there's just not much flexibility in terms of sizing up from there. That being said, yeah, no, so unfortunately, yeah, we can't really offer anything larger through this system.
Okay.
Good to see you,
Great.
Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. And it looks like Scott Kennedy is up next.
Hey, Scott.
Hi, we face this kind of problem all the time, particularly the clearance on stairs. So it's good to see the larger unit. I'd have to do a stair calculation, see if we could make that work. But the other question always going to come up is the pricing of these units. And I don't know whether the swing one's going to be priced about the same, but I was wondering what the ballpark is in Canadian dollars that we're going to be having to talk to our clients about.
Sure. And I did expect that we would get that question. Not exactly sure what the USD to Canadian conversion rate is right now, but we're looking at a price for the Comfort Solo of around $23,000 plus freight shipping. The Comfort Swing will be more expensive than that, although I'm not able to say right now what that price is because we're not able to price it until next year. But reach out in Q1 or so of next year, and I'll definitely be happy to answer that question. Also happy to plan the stair model or help you to ensure that the system fits into your design as needed. Feel free to reach out if you guys need any help with that.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Up next is Kit.
Hi, Kit.
Yeah, I was just wondering, sorry if I missed this in your presentation, but what snow load can this skylight handle?
So in general, the standard snow load that Lamilux skylights are supplied with is around 17 PSF. But I've seen skylights in general be supplied up to around 140 PSF. So we should be able to get within that range for this system since the glazing is similar to the glazing offered for other systems. That's able to meet most snow load requirements that we've encountered. Although there are definitely some very unique locations where that might fall a little bit short. But I would say 95% of applications we're able to accommodate.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kit. And Dale, sorry I missed your question. Please ask it.
Morning. It's interesting that I had a 9.5R on this. That is really good, but I'm wondering about the maintenance and warranty of this toy because anytime you put something up on the roof, what do you do to keep it happy?
Absolutely, that's a good question. In this case, the motorized components, the electrical components are not exposed in general. So those components that might be a little more sensitive are protected from the elements, which does sort of add to the product lifetime, I would say. In terms of warranty, our skylight systems are warranted, the glass and the skylight, for 5 years. But we certainly expect them to last multiples longer than that. And we offer support to meet that expectation. The motorized components in particular, actually for this system, since they're integrated, they're also falling under that 5-year warranty. So that would be for the full glazing surface, the skylight, and then also the motor.
So you have not much real world experience with this.
The first one that we supplied was supplied in 2017, and I believe we've supplied about 4 or 5 to North America since then.
Good. Well, you're talking US dollars, of course, you said 21,000, is that it?
About 23, give or take, US dollars, correct.
That's good to say US dollars. Other countries do use dollars, but the snow load was interesting in that what happens in the winter or where there's snow on it? Do you have to wait for all the snow to melt? Could you try to open it manually? And how is it going to react in that sort of climate?
That is a good question. Generally speaking, worth mentioning is that in the winter, when there's snow on the roof, you're probably not spending too much time up there, but there are many reasons why you might want to get access, including emergency situations. The system is sloped at about 15 degrees, which is significant. And because it's glazed and the glazing sits flush with the skylight profile, the snow is able to run off very easily. So once the snow stops and the sun comes out, it'll probably be only a few hours before most of the skylight is clear, and then it can be opened using the motor as it would normally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dale. Okay, next up is Tom.
Thanks. Yeah, hi. And I think maybe Andrew's question is kind of stacking on this, but what exactly is the fall protection from the roof side? Like referring to this image, I assume folks are kind of hanging out on the roof, you know, kind of thinking about what, yeah, just, you know, what is the fall protection to prevent someone from falling back into the window well or the stair well?
It's a good question. And this image does not really do a good job of demonstrating the fall through protection, but typically what we would recommend is just a railing along the open edge here, and then also potentially along the top edge, although the curb is a little bit higher at that edge, it would still be a good idea to probably add some height with the railing. And that would be enough just to ensure that no one accidentally backs up or steps into the opening.
Okay, so it's something external or by others, not integrated into the device.
Correct. Yeah, it's not,
okay.
we don't supply the railing, but it's certainly something that we can help consult on. Also
Right.
worth mentioning, I think, in terms of fall through protection is that the glazing is triple layer, as I mentioned, with an exterior tempered pane and an interior laminated pane, which does also offer substantial fall through protection on that end.
Right. Is it operable then from the outside? Like if you were to close it while folks are out there, you'd have a switch outside. I may have missed that as well.
You are able to accommodate interior and exterior controls with the motor controller that we offer. So yes, typically a key switch or similar at the exterior as well as the interior would ensure that you can use it on both ends. However, typically we recommend that it's left open while people are on the roof, just for safety reasons.
Right, right. And then I guess a similar question to the guard or fall protection, handrail extension. Is that something that would have to be sort of by others to give a continuity of the handrail all the way up to the topmost riser and tread? Like some sort of an extendable device or?
Extendable device is one recommendation, or something that kind of folds out similarly. Often we can have exceptions made, or I've seen exceptions made for a handrail that runs to the very top of the skylight curb and then continues just outside of that curb, because in this case it is difficult to have that rail be continuous.
Yeah.
But yes, unfortunately, we do not supply that component specifically. It'll have to be project specific.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Great, thanks, Tom. I suspect that probably covered your question, Andrew, but do you have any follow-up questions that you'd like to pose?
I may have missed it, but did you also talk about automatic closing during weather events?
So for safety reasons, we recommend that the system does not include weather automation, just because if it closes when someone is standing in the opening, although there is a sensor, there is still a possibility of pinching. So in general, our recommendation is not to have this automated. That being said, the motor controller could accommodate potentially a solution. It's just not something that we offer.
That's it. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Andrew. Currently, that is, we've gotten through the questions. So if anybody else has a question, now is the time to type it into chat. Otherwise, we'll move toward closing up. This has really been great, Jeremy. Thanks for being here and sharing this with us, and thanks everybody for attending the Component Spotlight.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. I'll take this opportunity just to mention that I will be at THEIS next week along with our wonderful hosts, Zach and Kim. So make sure to stop by the 475 booth, or if you have any questions about this specific system or anything Lamilux or anything that 475 offers, we're really excited to support that event this year.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Looking forward to seeing you in Chicago.
You as
Okay, well, I think with that, we'll wrap it up. Thanks, everybody. Have a great remainder of your Thursday, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, everyone.